Hello and welcome to the Backseat Bible Study. I'm Gayla and I want to talk to you today about Joseph. It's not going to be the familiar story though that you're used to hearing. You're used to hearing about him being sold into slavery, imprisoned, interpreting dreams, and eventually rising to become the number 2 head honcho of Egypt. No, today I want to talk to you about something a little bit different, something that I found recently that just kind of struck out to me like, aha, oh, that's a really great nugget of truth. I want to read to you first of all from Genesis chapter 37, verse 2. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought a bad report of them to his father. I saw that verse and just kind of cracked up because here he was 17 and tattling on his brothers. And I thought, this kid's a punk. And it um, just struck me as so interesting that God would use this kid. And it doesn't say anything else about him at this point. This is the first mention of him. It says he brought a bad report of them to his father. And so his brothers didn't like him very much. And no excuses whatsoever for them. But it kind of sounds like Joseph may have deserved it. Now, definitely not what they planned for him, but if you have kids and if you have teenagers especially, I think you get what I'm trying to say. Joseph also had a couple of dreams in which his brothers and even his father and mother would be subject to him, and his father reprimanded him for that. We don't know what tone of voice it was said in. We don't know if he was exultant over them or whatever, or if he was just matter of factly telling them, hey, I have these dreams. But regardless, his brothers did not like him. And so then we have the familiar story of them plotting to kill him and then instead selling him into slavery. He's purchased by Potiphar, but God was with him, and Joseph became Potiphar's chief of staff. And then his wife took a liking to him. He got arrested. He interprets some more dreams for the cupbearer and the baker, for Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker. And then eventually, after years and years and years of mistreatment and these unfair circumstances happening to him, he finally ends up face to face with Pharaoh and interprets Pharaoh's dreams. Now, let me go to chapter 41 and read verse 38 to you. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find such a one as this, a man in whom is the Spirit of God? So you start with him being a 17-year-old punk, and you end with Pharaoh, who is not a worshiper of God, recognizing that Joseph has the Spirit of God in him. Isn't that absolutely marvelous? And it kind of gives me hope because I am guilty of being a punk, and not just 17-year-old punk, but very much an adult punk also. And what Joseph went through was not only to get him at the right place at the right time before Pharaoh, but I think it probably was also necessary to get his heart in the right place. Because if he did we don't know for sure, but if he did start out as this arrogant little kid, then probably God really needed to humble him and get his heart, chip away at all the junk. You know, we often need that, don't we? In James, it says that trials are there to help us mature, to build our character, and to make us complete. And so I'm just very encouraged that I found this little nugget about Joseph, that no matter how you start, when you let God do a work in your heart, then you can have the ending that He writes for you. Thanks a lot for listening, and I look forward to seeing you next time with whatever God puts on my heart.